Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Ashley Mailloux with producer Bobby helping us out as we preview the Sunday race of the day. This one's over at Keeneland. We have a grade two and some really nice filly and mare sprinters towards the top of the division. Ashley, you and I have previewed some of these names a few different times, and we have to start with the outside with Future Is Now, who is so sharp right now. This horse just loves to win races. When you look at Future Is Now's overall form, the last 9 starts, 7 wins, a second, and a third. 4 graded stakes wins, including this race last year, 3 other stakes wins, and was twice beaten a half length in graded stakes when finishing second and third. You just can't get any sharper than this horse is right now.
No, and she's beaten very good horses along the way. It hasn't been easy on her. And you kind of look at her, I want to call them somewhat humble beginnings, Mid-Atlantic, sent her to Florida, went back to the Mid-Atlantic, and then it's been pretty much graded stakes races except for races like the Smart and Fancy, which she's won twice in a row. We'll find out come this weekend if she can do the same thing here with the Franklin.
When you look at her buyer scale, it is just like clockwork. She's so consistent with what she shows up with each and every time. Last 9 races, no buyer lower than 92. She's got 94, 97, 97, 98, 98, 99, like just right there in the mix. Let's move to the Timeform US pace projector. She is hooked a little wide in here. So maybe, that's the way if you're trying to beat her, you're curious that maybe she gets parked a little bit because she wants to sit close up. And we do have a couple other horses in here that want to be forward and show some speed. Ashley, One Happy Mama is very quick. Pipsy can show speed. In Our Time, Luna Luska, they're all pretty quick. So, you could see combinations of maybe 3 or 4 different horses in here pushing the pace early.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think the 7 in here likely has to go based on the win streak that she has intact. She's never not shown speed. So at this point, why would you take a gamble here in a grade 2 and say, let's rate today? So I think she's going to go. Others in here, I think that have maybe shown a fair bit of speed. They're probably in the right spots here, like the 8, Cart Girl Sam. She's
Yeah.
somewhat forward, but she's not going to make the lead in here. And I think they're comfortable doing so. Just sit off of it. And with the case here, a Future Is Now. She has enough speed. I think she'll be able to clear some and tuck in, and she'll get sort of a stalking trip.
Yeah, she's just shown us she can adapt to different types of trips that she's had. Let's meet this field for the Grade 2 Franklin. This is the Sunday race of the day. It's going to go as race number 7 on Sunday, October the 12th, over at Keeneland. $400,000 up for grabs. Ashley, I like the one pondering overall as a filly. You and I have previewed races before that she was in. She had 3 straight races from June to August that were very good. I just think this might be a little tough for her. She showed last time out in the Music City that grade 2. I think there could have been a couple excuses for her. 6.5, maybe a little too long. Kentucky Downs. She actually hooked a very nice horse named She's So Spicy. I need to see a little more from her in a spot like this. I do think getting back to 5.5 furlongs will help her, and she could come launching late because there is some pace to run at. Just not sure if she's quite at this level.
No, and it's maybe tough to assess her now as a 3-year-old filly doing this. She's going to face some olders in
Great point.
here. I think when you look at her race 2 back, yes, it was for 3-year-olds and upward, but really not necessarily all graded stakes horses in there when you look at what they were doing before that race, what they've gone on to do after. So I agree with you. I think she's talented. I just don't know if she's ready for this yet.
Time to Dazzle is a grade 3 winner going a mile on the turf. She's 0 for her last 7. She was a nice second last time out at Kentucky Downs going 6.5 furlongs. My major concern with her, Ashley, is just the 5.5. I think she's probably a 6 furlong to a mile type horse. 6.5 is actually a really nice trip for her. She's not that quick early on. So they do look like they could go really fast early in this race. So I think that sets up for her, but she's going to really need a perfect type trip, a perfect type setup to get up late in a race like this when she'll be starting from way out of it.
Yeah, I wanted to use her for a sliver, but
I
I
did
just couldn't
too.
get to it because of what you said, the distance. I'm not even sure if she wants to go 6. I look at her 6.5 races and she's rolling late and she can't get there. So that's kind of my concern with her is I just think it's her running style that works against her. And we take a look at the race at Kentucky Downs where she's going to be the runner up. She can't get to in our time. And that's kind of my concern with her here. This was going 6.5. Now you're going to cut her back. You look at her last 5.5 start at Saratoga. It was a very good effort, but she couldn't get to Future Is Now. So it's tough for me to see how will she do that in here.
We move to the number 3, Lady Crush. She's a half sibling to a horse named Twirling Queen, who's a multiple stakes winner sprinting on the turf. So has a solid little pedigree there. But just based off what she's done, she just looks like this is a little too much to ask for her at this particular time. I mean, if you're looking at her buyers, she ran a 73 in her lone turf race at Remington last time out. The race was not bad. Visually, slow start. She moves up. She didn't quite corner well. She looked a little bit green, but she was closing late, Ashley. She certainly ran in spots, and that was her first start since January. So overall, I'm looking at her. I think she takes a step forward off of that. I think she was solid on the grass. This is just a very ambitious spot for them, taking a shot against Graded Stakes Company.
Yeah, it's a huge step up. And I will say her best number, it's on the turf. So she has that going for her. You mentioned second start off a long layoff. But, you kind of compare her to, say, one of the other 3-year-old fillies that we talked about. I'd sooner use the one than using her, just kind of looking at the races she comes out of.
Move to One Happy Mama. She's an Iowa bred. She's coming off a nice victory last time out. She's a stakes winner sprinting on the dirt, but she only has one turf race. And in that race, she was a few lengths behind Pondering. And we were just kind of going back and forth and weren't sure if Pondering is quite classy enough for this group. So I am worried about One Happy Mama, and just I need to see more from her on the grass.
Absolutely. And she is the stablemate to Lady Crush, just something to keep in mind. We've only had the one turf effort. You mentioned Pondering. You look at her other races. I mean, she has thrown a pretty good race prior to that. And at Prairie Meadows, pretty big number on the dirt, ran well. She has speed, but I don't think against this group, did she make the lead? I don't think so.
Now, Pipsy is a horse who can be forwardly placed, but I'm hoping in this race, Ashley, she can sit off a little bit. I'd love to see her kind of sit in second or third there. She won the Grade 2 Intercontinental back in June, and she beat Future Is Now. So you like to see that she's capable of beating, the horse who will likely go favorite in here. Then following that Intercontinental, could probably make some excuses for the next couple. July 19th was behind horses. Didn't think the trouble was quite as bad as it said, but she just didn't really get a great trip in there. Then she came back on August the 30th at Kentucky Downs. She actually faced the boys. She set the pace that day, or she was sitting right behind Bear River, who ended up winning and going on. When you look at that field, second place finisher Howard Wolowitz is a Grade 1 winner. Third place finisher Kadeem just came back to win their next start. So I think she was just facing a pretty tough group last time out. I feel like cutting back and getting back with the girls in here should really make her more competitive.
And I think right now it's Will Walden's world, and we're just living in it. When you look at her success, Grade 1 glory with Rhetorical, Gordon Pass with a top 3 finish in the Bourbon, and then out at Santa Anita in the Rodeo Drive, Speed Shopper with a second place finish. So Barn is red hot, firing at sort of the highest levels, last week, and I think they can carry the momentum into this upcoming weekend. And you mentioned it. You look at her last two, and obviously there are things not to like about them. I really don't care for the race 2 back, but she had trouble, right? And it's not the trip that she wants. She couldn't recover from it. Last time out, Kentucky Downs, again, it's so tough to talk about those races sometimes because yes, she's run there well in the past. I don't know if that necessarily means you're going to the next time that you're there. It's just such an odd track. So, I've loved some of her wins at Keeneland and Saratoga when you go 3 and 4 back. So she's a huge player.
In our time is next up. Curious on this filly cutting back if she can sit off the pace a little bit. She is a stakes winner and she is graded stakes placed going long on the turf. She got the lead most recently in a race at 6.5 at Kentucky, and she just kept going there. She does have a win at 5.5 on the turf too. I'm just a little worried with the speed on both sides of her, and we don't really have a lot of races where she sat off the pace, but I keep going back to that with her, Ashley. In here, she'll probably need to sit off a little bit because that's kind of where she's projected.
I will say, when I looked at the Della Rose, the 2 divisions of it, I think she came out of the better division. She was the runner-up. She finished in front of Heredia, who we know went on to win after that, has had a pretty good season. I agree with you, though. I don't know how to stack her up against this group, really. Again, she could fire a big race, but again, she's got to cut back in distance, something that she used to do, but she hasn't done it in so long that I don't know if I trust her going 5.5.
Kendrick Carmouche comes over to ride Luna Luska, who is in fantastic form right now, Ashley. She's won 4 in a row, synthetic, and then 3 straight on the turf. She can fly. She has races where she's going sub 21. Like, we're looking at one of the races where she's going 20-1. Like, can really, really fly. I think if anyone takes this field gate to wire, or if anyone is the real speed of the speed, it might be her.
She is the speed in here, but she is going to get tested. I think this group is by far the the toughest group that she's going to face to date. I mean, we haven't seen her in graded stakes yet. She had a nice win, a horseshoe Indianapolis, and they sent her to New York. She was able to win again. The numbers haven't really changed, 96 and a 97. They make her extremely competitive here, but I do have some reservations about using her on the top spot in here, just on the pure fact she's going to get tested like she hasn't been before.
Great point. Figures she fits class-wise. We got to see, does she fit with this company yet? And she might. We move to Cart Girl Sam. She does seem a cut below on speed figures. She stakes placed at Colonial. Very honest filly. She's been in the money in 8 of 9. And she lost to a horse 2 starts back who came back to win their next start. So she's been facing sharp runners. But this does feel like another pretty sizable step up for her.
It is a big step up in class. I do like her style that I feel like she could stock in here, but another one, she hasn't really been tested against anything remotely this difficult. So while I think she could get the right trip, I don't know if that actually, then means she can pass horses late. I think she's just in deep waters.
Future is now just so cool. 10-time winner, loves to win races. And last out, she's sitting third. She's 3 deep, about a length off, and she moves to the lead without really even being asked. And then she's geared down in the end. Like visually, she looks like she's even getting better right now, Ashley. I don't really have any knocks on her whatsoever. The only point I think is worth mentioning is that Paco Lopez has been riding her for basically her real success over the last year or so, when she's kind of become this graded stakes animal. And so when you have that kind of relationship with the horse where he just seems to know everything about her, when to go, when to sit, what she can do, he won't be aboard her now. So I think that's one thing that's worth mentioning, because Paco has a couple horses like this with Bookham Dano, where he just seems to get the best out of them. Irad will be jumping aboard. It's not like that's a bad substitution, but with horses, that some riders particularly just have the magic touch.
Yeah, that is a good thing to point out. As we take a look at her most recent performance going to Saratoga, Paco was obviously aboard, and she did her thing once again. She gets the same trip almost every single start. I think she is cool. You mentioned her resume, but the fact she was foaled in Maryland, she's by Great Notion, who stands in Maryland, a horse that you wouldn't think is, approaching $1 million in earnings the way that she's done it. So extremely talented. Maybe, as you said earlier, when we looked at the pace projection, maybe the post doesn't work well for her as you start to look at where she's been drawn in all of her other races. But I still think in a lot of ways, she may be the horse to beat. Pipsy's probably the main threat to her, especially when you go back 3 starts, and Pipsy did win that one.
What's so tough, Ashley, as we move to selections, like for us as gamblers, we're always trying to poke holes in the favorites, the horse who we're going to be the short price. And when you try to poke the holes in Future Is Now, likes the trip, likes the track, can sit close, has shown different dimensions, has beat a lot of these same rivals and competed with them. So there's just not a lot of negatives you can say about her. She will be a short price, but I mean, you go back to her, she's just so honest. And I think you and I have the same exact 4 in just a slightly different order.
Yeah, slightly different exacta. The rest of it is plain and simple here for us. But yeah, who do you go with in here? I think, when you look at Future Is Now, she is so consistent. Where you go to Pipsy, she's very good, but obviously her last 2 have not been the desired trips for her. She's maybe had excuses. So honestly, it's sort of a flip of a coin here, but went to the outside.
Yeah, so for Ashley, 9,576. I'll put Pipsy on top. Maybe we get a little more value there coming off of a couple lackluster efforts. 5,976 for me. Whoever you play, however you play them, we wish you the best of luck.